As organizations and businesses use more AI, what's really apparent is that the world is relying more and more on models. They're trying to understand buyer behavior, consumer behavior, and use that information to drive outcomes for organizations. But there's a huge issue in which ways models are used and built. And a great example of that is the US election polling. So let's wind back to 2016. And if we all remember, the polls said Hillary's going to win, Trump wins. Why did that happen? Well, there's three possible scenarios. Trump was a complete unknown at the time. Voter turnout was much more significant than expected. And there was a huge growth in undecided voters. What that really meant was that the models in which the pollsters were using on how they describe and determine the outcome of an election were fundamentally wrong. They were built on assumptions that didn't actually occur and didn't happen. And so the result of that, the polls are wrong. Now, if we fast forward to 2020 and we think about today's polls and we think, well, Biden's ahead this time, it's definitely going to happen. Well, I'll caution you on that again as well. I think there are three fundamental things again in this election that are going to be really decide the way in which the election moves and that are not built in to the pollsters' polling models. And that is the undecided voters are down significantly this time around. Trump is a very, very well-known entity, and COVID. The impact of COVID on this election and the relative recency of Trump's own bout of COVID will have a huge impact on the way in people vote and perceive in this election, and they won't be taken account of in the models. And so when thinking about modeling and thinking about using data science in your business and AI, the real lesson we learn from this is that models need updating. The world is constantly changing. And if you're going to be using AI, make sure that whatever you do, you're constantly updating and maintaining your models and your base assumptions so that the outcomes you seek are achievable.